Hello and welcome to the Cybersecurity Happy Hour podcast. My name is Christy and I'm your host for today's podcast. The topic for today's podcast, episode 15, is we're kind of looking at the top 10 cybersecurity risks in 2020. So we kind of have to review, just a reviewing of what's happened in the last year, over this last year. Now, things have been quite exciting and interesting. And what is it? A pandemic. So what can we say here? But we're still here going into the next year. Well, however, I said the purpose is to review, look back. Before I continue, I want to remind us that this is a cybersecurity podcast. So do not forget to protect your data in transit and maintain your privacy by using our affiliate link for NordVPN. And what is that link? The link is what? Well, if you go to the NordVPN website and use coupon code INTECHCYBER, what will you get for that? So you would get, actually this is quite good actually, you get 70% off a 3-year plan plus 1 month free. So you get 70% off a 3-year plan plus 1 month free. That's if you use our code INTECHCYBER. All the information are on the show notes. So just look at the notes and then you click on the hyperlink there and you're going to get that great deal just to protect your privacy. Let's start with the first one. Number one, the attack has focused on small businesses, and there has been a lot of losses within small businesses. And the reason why is some small businesses believe that they are not attractive to cyber criminals as well. So because they believe that, we've got nothing that the cyber criminals are interested in, we're small. Okay. However, cyber criminals are targeting SMEs. Okay. Now, because they know that some of them may not have the security controls in place in order compared to a large organization. So of course, if they haven't got any security controls in place, or they have minimum and it's not really either verified, security patches have not been applied, then of course they are vulnerable to these types of attacks. Number two, there's been compromises using phishing. Phishing is still prevalent. So email attacks, specially crafted email attacks as well, targeting either CEO, C-suites of some organization. Some of them include some kind of impersonation attack, impersonating somebody within an organization that may have authority. And if they do, there might be some kind of account takeover, especially in the cloud environment, of course. So if you use two-factor authentication for your accounts or most of your credentials, and ensure that you configure your accounts so that your emails are well protected, then this can protect these against these forms of attack. Now, of course, number three, malware. I've talked about malware on numerous occasions. Unfortunately, this is still one of the ways of attacks being still occurring, and with the weaknesses in IoT devices or even mobile applications as well. So this is still prevalent, as I said. Unfortunately, with mobile malware, some of the root cause is of malicious applications. So these applications have been created especially with malware embedded. So when a user downloads these malware from the App Store, these apps might appear authentic, but unfortunately they have a malicious content embedded within them. Number four, we still have problems with passwords. Okay, weak passwords, password reuse. So the same password used on multiple platforms, the same credentials used on multiple platforms. So unfortunately, if one of these credentials is captured, it can be reused. So, and why? Because people really can't remember passwords. So if they have one, they cannot stick to it. Unfortunately, This is what makes it vulnerable, and not just personal. This is also on a corporate level. So we're still seeing these password attacks. I mean, one key one I'm going to mention here is happened last year was the MyFitnessPal. You know, I don't know if anybody remember MyFitnessPal, and that was vulnerable to a password attack as well, because the cyber criminals were able to determine people's credentials and what's used to compromise that particular app. We also have number 5, we have ransomware. Of course, ransomware is on the increase, unfortunately. Of course, we know what ransomware does. Ransomware, if a cyber criminal gets hold of your data, what would they do? They hold you to ransom. Okay, they hold you to ransom, and you've got to pay a small fee. A fee for them to decrypt that information. So we still got ransomware, unfortunately. Number 6, cloud services. We, again, because of poor credentials being used for identity management, cyber criminals were able to not just guess the password, they were able to hack into the cloud environment, which is Office 365. And one of the ways they did that, just say, they created a fake Microsoft login page, and asked users to grant permission to a third-party tool. And then, of course, what did that tool do? It captured their credentials, username, passwords, once the user have submitted that data, and then, of course, they reused that information as well. So again, cloud services, review the identity and access management, and again, it relates to the credentials. Make sure that all credentials are kind of secure, two-factor, etc. as well. In the previous podcast, I've mentioned this number 7, which is the Internet of Things devices, and unfortunately, there have been breaches in this year as well. We always wonder why things are not haven't changed in the last few years, because some of what I'm discussing here is nothing new really. So again, the IoT devices attacks are on the increase, and it's kind of been estimated in 5 years they're up to 70 billion of IoT devices. So you can imagine that we have 70 IoT devices within our businesses, within our homes, and some of those might be vulnerable. Yes, we know that security is hard, but again, it's down to the vendor to make sure that, again, security is embedded, and and prevent it from being attacked, because there are going to be attempts, but you have to kind of make sure that the work factor is quite high, is high. Other things as well, to mitigate some of these risks. Why would you need IoT devices? Are fantastic, I would say. However, why would you need a kettle or in your office? That kind of, yes, I know it's convenience. People say it's for convenience, yes, but you can walk to the coffee point and make your coffee there. That's part of the fun, I believe. Or why would you have a fridge that tells you that you're running out of food? You can walk over to the fridge and look and see you're running out of food and go shopping. Why do you need to be told? Because it's your choice to use it, but make sure that that the devices are patched and you can actually update them yourself. So do your research. Number 8, I'm jumping the gun here. We have AI, artificial intelligence. AI has been used. It's a technology that is rapidly advancing, and artificial intelligence is used in many areas in our work and home life. And you can look at a few, Alexa, etc. And really, again, why do we have these tools? Is for convenience and to make our life, much more easier. However, the cyber criminals are not asleep. Okay, so what's the primary aim of an AI? They have the capability of adapting and learning new skills. They can also they can actually mimic how we reason. And this is the way we mimic or how AI learns, that machine learning, that is what the cyber criminals are targeting. Now, we can use AI positively as well. So, so we can use AI for, again, to monitor any malware threats. It is selling it here, but it's fantastic. However, it can be abused. Everything that can be abused will be abused. So we just say, okay, do your research. Number 9, we have things like malware. So we've got Apple malware. We've got Apple malware here. Now, I've talked about apps previously and malicious apps. Now, so there's some school of thought that claim, so I use these words, claim that Apple products are more secure than Windows. I use the word claim, please. And why they say that is that the reason why they say that, because the App Store uses more, they're more vigorous in testing and verifying that some of the apps in the App Store does not have malware embedded. However, so as a result of this, they were quite trusted. So you download an app from the App Store, you think, oh yes, Apple's done their due diligence, so we are fine. But what we're seeing today is that now there are some smart persons out there that are creating malware specifically for Apple. So, and that includes any of the Apple products. They could mimic Apple products. It could be emails. So again, this is not just an app, this also affects Mac as well. Other things that some feedback we get from users, that there have been some increase of unwanted software being on the machines as well. So again, how does this work? The cyber criminal will trick or fool the user into purchasing some program or some piece of software. Okay, and of course, when they purchase the software, of course, this software has some I call it a free gift, embedded free gift that's going to cause you problems later down the line. So again, so Apple malware, crafted malware, is also on the increase. And lastly, let's see, what else can we say? What's the last one we can think? Well, we've got things like, now the last one I'm going to talk about, which is the number 10. Is internal attacks. And the reason why I mentioned this is that sometimes the focus is always externally. Sometimes externally is people attacking us. But we shouldn't forget that within our organization, one of the biggest threats is our employees, especially the malicious ones, of course. And reason why it is a big threat, because don't forget the employees are familiar with the organization already. So they understand how the organization works, they understand the company inside out. They have access already, they have credentials, and they are ready to inflict harm if necessary. Now, one area of concern is, especially when employees are about to leave. Have you noticed that it's changed behavior? Some of them are about to leave, and what would they do? They will start copying confidential information, and to be used probably in their new role. Or sometimes, if they're deeply, deeply malicious, they're probably going to sell that to the competitors. Okay? So that's one thing we shouldn't forget. Our internal attacks is still a big threat, and I left that to last, because you need to kind of manage what's happening in your internal infrastructure, as well as what's happening out there. So that is why this is still number 10. Well, actually, I would say it's number 1, but I've just classified this in numbers. So this is something that organizations must continue to look out for, because it's still one of the biggest threats each year. And companies must find ways to minimize or mitigate against these internal attacks. Of course, one thing that we know is that educate our employees, make sure we have our policies as well, limit what the employees can have access to, and monitor their behaviors, monitor their access. if somebody usually accesses data once a day, and all of a sudden, when there isn't a project, they're accessing that data or going out of hours, that there should be a red flag. Okay. Anyway, that's all for this podcast. I want to use this opportunity to wish you a very happy Christmas and a fantastic new year. And I'll see you in 2021. Thank you.